I am back again. It's approximately 12:40. Um, there are two little stories. One is something very special to me. I always will always remember it. It's one of those people who feel compassion. The other story is of a man who is not. The reason why this um, segment or episode or is called Bluer because it was Bluer Street, and I was then waiting for the subway cars to come along. I noticed when the cars passed me, the one I was going to be going into, half of it were all standing at the far end of the car. Um, there were others who were going to follow me into the car, but backed out and went right down and got in on another car or further down. You can probably guess the reason why. Um, there was an older man in ripped clothes. I cannot describe them. I cannot. Um, he was probably had not used a toilet in an infinite period of time. So invariably, he was covered in shit. Is what it basically is. And for a very long period of time, it's one after another, after another, after another, and also soaks into his clothes. But there was another person. This is the one, the angel. I swear to God. This happened to be Saint Valentine's Day, and there was a young woman seated across from him, and in her hand she held a red rose in a container, a few green leaves. I sat near her, and honest to God, I ain't no angel. There are so many things I should not have done. Sometimes practical jokes, right? It makes me sort of laugh, but not this one. I sat near them, and what impressed me is how obsessed her eyes were of him, and how compassionate this woman was for him. All the others at the end of the subway car, but she's there. That's something. To me, that's something. It's very hard to find compassion today. It's rare. I think I may have mentioned earlier a doctor who actually was a friend, indicated 10% were sort of like that woman, and the others were like the others. But I admired her, and I wish I had said something to tell her. I admired her, and she. I wish everyone was like her. It's not that way in Ontario. It's not that way in Canada. It's not that way throughout the world. Some are pathetic. So, I will always remember her. And in fact, I always will until I croak. She's someone I admire, and with the very few souls that I've met, she is an angel. Now we enter the second story, which is entirely opposite. It was a year and a half, 2 years after I had surgery, and my ability to speak was much improved. I happened to be downtown at Yonge Street and Bloor Street. And I was standing on a building northwest. I was looking, I was paying no attention to anything really at all until I saw this, much like the one I described, the TTC subway car. Very much the same, only it was on sort of curled on a subway grill. It's primarily to keep warm. It's the heat coming up from the subway. He was out of everything, alcohol, drugs, whatever it might be. In a way, he looked very much like the one I saw in the subway. The reaction of people who passed by interests me. There are various reactions. I won't go into all of them. But most would come by, see him, and just move around him. They will not say anything about him at all. Women will react slightly differently. If she is engaged with a conversation with a guy or another woman, she is walking towards him, realize he is curled or on one of the grills. She would she will terribly feel frightened, walk around him. She probably will look back at him once more. It's not compassion. It's not, look at that poor man. It's nothing. The worst of all, the actual opposite of the angel. This guy walks along, he's with some friends. He walks by, recognizes that poor man, points a finger at him, makes some comment, and he bursts out laughing. There's nothing funny about that man. There's nothing funny at all. Honestly, if he was a president and I had authority I was CEO, I would fire him. You don't make mockery of the lowest of us. I ain't religious at all. I've been agnostic since the beginning of my time, my thinking time. But I do like certain aspects of religions. They show some compassion. It bothers me that they so exist. but they do. Like that woman who hung up the phone on me when I told her I had a brain hemorrhage. How arrogant. And how arrogant it was, that man pointing at that poor man lying, was stretched sort of curled on the grill, the snow around him. I'd fire him too. It's funny, the people who should not get fired are the head leaders. So greedy. And that gasoline station thing, those attendants are paid next to nothing and get fired. And you have some pompous little shit who passes that poor man curled on a TTC grill in order to find warmth. Pokes out a finger at him and mocks him. I'd fire him. So those are the two stories that I wanted to tell you. They are very important stories. Because in a way, I went through that procedure. One day I will go into it. It's very difficult. It is very, very difficult. So I'm going to leave now, and I hope you are far more compassionate to people. I mean that.